So in this video, I just wanted to talk about why I do all these vlogs. And this is actually a pretty recent thing I've started. I didn't used to do vlogs. In fact, most of the videos on my YouTube channel have always been some form of tutorial or something, whether they be geometry or programming or something else educational. So why suddenly am I starting a vlog playlist on my channel? And the answer to that is I really want to be a leader. And let me explain what I mean by that. When I was younger, I watched my childhood really go by fast. And I was sucked into these situations where most children don't belong. For example, when I was in 8th grade, I got into a conflict with my father, and this landed me in juvie. My father and I have had bad relations since I was really young, but I never imagined that because of this conflict I would end up in juvie. This was the beginning of the end of my good childhood, and I began to understand how harsh this world was. But for all this time, I've basically sat down and done nothing but, been depressed about the way the world is to me, and the way people treat me, and the way, and the way that I feel burdened by how the world has treated me. And I don't think this is right anymore, because I watched my friends in high school become leaders. I went to school with gifted kids. I was a gifted kid myself. I wasn't treated like one, but I was, at least test-wise. I was gifted. And many of these kids, they started up organizations. They created new projects and whatnot. They did research, and they were able to do this not only because they had people recognizing them. That was one thing that I didn't have, but they also had enthusiasm. They had this interest in helping other people. They had this interest in changing the world. I had this interest deep down, but because of the situations that I was in at the time, because of going to juvie, because of being put into a residential treatment center for 1.5 years, I sat there dormant, For me, I was basically told and encouraged to just concentrate on my schoolwork, and I did. And since I was struggling on my schoolwork at times, I didn't put any effort towards my extracurricular activities. I didn't put any effort towards leadership. I didn't put any efforts towards my goals of changing the world. And I always wondered how all of my friends did it. My friend Benji, he started this club called Dulles Delta. Well, at the time it was actually called actually, it doesn't matter what it was called originally, but now it's called Dulles Delta. And it was this amazing club where he took a group of people and he started raising funds for education for people in third world countries and whatnot. And this seemingly small thing led to something big. This was actually originally called Supply Education, but they changed it to Dulles Delta after the non-profit organization got into conflict with Dulles High School's chapter. That's a long story though. But he was able to do this partially because he had emotional support, but also because he himself had the enthusiasm to really push and um, and pursue his interests. This wasn't just, hey, I want to get into Rice University or something, which, by the way, he goes to Rice University now. This wasn't, I want to get to a top school someday, so I'm going to create this organization. It was, he created this organization because he wanted to really address this topic, which was not addressed well within the current organizations at Dulles High School. My leadership in high school is very complex. I was not very much a leader. I did JROTC, but I didn't really put a lot of emphasis on it. I had so many more friends who did do JROTC, did it well, was really passionate about it. I was like a member. That's about it. I was the member of many clubs, but I wasn't the founder of anything. And I had so many ideas, but these ideas were things I didn't pursue. When I got out of residential treatment after 1.5 years, near my senior year, or well, near the end of my junior year and towards the beginning of my senior year, I was so focused on my academics and trying to get back into Dulles High School that I didn't really put as much emphasis into creating an organization based on what I was interested in. My interests, my passions have been basically morphed and shaped by the fact that I have autism. I was once passionate of computers. I still am to a certain extent. I was passionate of mathematics. I was passionate of sciences. Benji, Karen, everyone in my school, they're passionate about those things. But what makes me unique is that I'm also passionate about autism because I myself have autism and understand what autism is like. Which brings me to what this vlog is about. Well, these vlogs. These playlist vlogs were created so that I could freely express myself. That's one thing. But I could also help other students. I could also help other people going through the same anxiety, the same stresses, and the same events that I have gone through in my life. Not exactly the same, but similar. Being a leader, it's not all about commanding something. It doesn't have to be that. It's about starting a movement. It's about raising your voice. It's about teaching people and helping people understand. And I really want to teach people about autism. I really want to help people understand what autism is. Not just so they accept me, but so they accept other people with autism and recognize that autistic children are not a burden on society. They are beneficial to our society. They're brilliant people. And that's exactly why I created my vlogs. Not all of my vlogs are on autism. There's one on computer science and whatnot. And I get to showcase my fixations through these vlogs, and you guys get to understand the ins and outs of my life as an autistic person. Through this, I want to be a leader. I want to teach people that autism is a part of my life. It's what makes me who I am. It's not a disease. It's not an epidemic. It's just my brain wiring. And I'm happy with that. And I want people to be happy with that too, which is why I created these vlogs. So, yeah, I encourage any of you who have feelings just to share them with people on the internet. It's totally fine. Because, believe it or not, we're not that different. We are in physical ways, we are in mental capacities and whatnot, but all of us have the capacity to love, have the capacity to feel, and have the capacity to understand others. We just need to put forth our effort in doing so and believe that another person will understand when you need them to. So thank you for this vlog, for tuning into this vlog, and I encourage you guys to look through my past vlogs and tell me if there's anything you guys want to know about me. If there's any suggestions that you have for me. If there's anything you want me to change on my channel. I will gladly address that. Thank you. Please like, subscribe, dislike, or whatever. But, good night.